Good morning, everyone. And now let's begin our service with the Unity Band. Vivian and the Unity Band.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity. Whoop, whoop. We're going to start out this morning while you get settled in with a tune called Something Wonderful is Happening Here. And Anthony wrote it, and I've kind of put my spin on it this morning. I used my imagination, and yes. I have come here seeking freedom. I have come here seeking peace. I have come here to go deeper to the truest part of me, and it's here in this place. I can see it on each face. Yes, it's here where we are. I can feel it in my heart. I can feel it in my heart. Oh yeah, something wonderful is happening here today. Something wonderful is happening here in me, and it's real. Yes, it's true. It's my spirit shining through. Oh yeah, something wonderful is happening here today. I have come here to remember I truly am inside. I have come here to release it. I no longer have to hide. And yes, it's here I can let go. I can let my feelings show. And it's here in this place. I can show my spirit's face. I can show my spirit's face. Oh yes, you know, something wonderful is happening here today. Something wonderful is happening here in me, and it's real, yes, it's true, 'cause it's my spirit shining through. Oh yeah, yeah, something wonderful is happening here today. And the life I once knew, all the things I have been through, now I see, yes, it's clear, every step has led me here. And it's here in this room that I'll find my deepest truth. Yes, it's here. I just know that I'll find my spirit's home. I'm gonna find my spirit's home. Oh, oh, something wonderful is happening here today. Oh, yeah. Something wonderful is happening here in me, and it's real. Yes, it's true. It's my spirit shining through, and yes, something wonderful is happening here today. Oh, yes. Something wonderful is happening here today, and it's happening here in me. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Oh, thanks. This one we can all stand up and sing. Yes, we can. Everybody say, I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. All right. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. And I shine. And I shine. And I shine so bright. And I shine. And I shine. And I shine so bright. You are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. You are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world. And we shine. And we shine. And we shine so bright. And we shine. And we shine. And we shine so bright. And we shine, yes we shine, and we shine, oh we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. We shine, we shine, we shine. Oh, everybody's in good singing voice this morning. Whoop, whoop. Hello to all the friends at home. We're so glad you could be here with us. It's been a morning of opportunities. I tell ya. Yeah. And all good. I think we have risen above. Yes. As we all come together in unity. All right. I decide what matters to me. It's my decision to be in the flow. I decide what to let in, and I decide what's got to go. So I'm the one with the power to choose every and every belief. Oh, I'm the one with the voice inside that has the power to set me free. I decide what matters to me. It's my decision to be in the flow. I decide what to let in, and I decide what's got to go. So I'm the only one who knows what's true for true self who lives in me. So I'm the only one who's ever gonna know what my body, mind, and soul really need. That's why I decide what matters to me. It's my decision to be in the flow. I decide what to let in, and I decide what's got to go. Oh, but every time I forget my own power and start doing what I think I should do, I gotta take a step back and pull my soul inside and listen to the voice. It's true and it always says, I to the inflow. I decide what to let in, and I decide what's got to go. I decide what matters to me. It's my decision to the inflow. I decide what to let in, and I decide what's got to go. Oh, I decide what's got to go. Oh, I decide what's got to go. And I decide what matters to me. Woo! Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. And yes, we get to decide. And what a perfect song to have for this morning as we arrive in circumstances that we didn't expect. At least I certainly didn't expect it. And what a beautiful opportunity to notice what happens for you when life shows up in unexpected ways, right? And how is it that we react as a community? So for those of you at home who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, as we arrived this morning, apparently it is the annual Clean Up the Neighborhood event happening here in our space, and there is no parking for anybody who arrived here this morning. And there are cars lined up all the way down the street bringing their garbage, and there's giant garbage trucks taking away all the garbage. So I guess it's time to let go. Is that what this morning is about? Letting go, right? There we go. Taking what no longer serves us and tossing it into the back of the garbage truck. There we go. All right. Very good morning. I don't think I introduced myself yet. My name is Susan Cullen. I am part of the spiritual leadership team here at Unity of Calgary, and I'm delighted to have you all joining us here this morning. Those of you who are online in your homes, we're delighted that you're tuning in, whether it's live now or you're watching a replay later. We're delighted to have your soul and your energy with us this morning. The most important thing, if this is your first time here, is just to know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are always welcome here at Unity of Calgary. So let's begin with an affirmative prayer. I invite you to take a deep breath in and let it go. And as you let it go, taking your awareness to your heart. And just focus on your heart, the beating of your beautiful heart, and your breath going in and out. And imagining for a moment that your breath is actually moving through your heart space. With each breath, you are coming more and more centered into yourself as you affirm. When life doesn't always show up as I expect, I take a deep breath and I connect to that place of inner wisdom within. And on those times when I get knocked off my center, I know that as soon as I realize it, I can take a breath and come back once again. I can call on my deep faith to know and to trust that divine order is always working in my life. And I so appreciate this beautiful example today, reminding me that I am okay, I am love, and I let go of what no longer serves me. And as I do that, I feel lighter and ready to move forward to be the love I am in the world. And so it is. All right, and our statement of being, the being of why it is we gather together in spiritual community. I invite you to affirm it with me together. We are here as love to celebrate the one power, the one presence in our lives, in this community, and in the universe. And hey, you know what? I just thought of another little benefit here. Look at all these community people coming past on Sunday morning going, hey, what's happening at the community center on Sunday morning? And maybe they'll hear a little music coming from here and say, hey, that's super cool. And maybe, just maybe, they'll feel the love that we have in this community emanating out of this building. And it will touch their hearts in some way. How cool is that? Okay, free marketing. There we go. Exactly. All right, we'd like to call up Danelle Pacey, one of our newest board members, to come and read our daily word. It is a wonderful way to center yourself and ground yourself. Oh, and Stella's coming up too. Oh, this is so exciting. This is awesome. And if you didn't notice on your way in, we have our bulletin board up once again, and there is a sign-up sheet once again for the Daily Word. So if you want to reserve your spot to share your voice, we would love to have you. All right, Danelle and Stella.
Good morning. So the daily word for today,
World peace.
is
World peace.
okay.
Peace is shared between people and spread throughout the world. Peace is shared between people and spread throughout the world.
Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Micah 4:3. I contribute to world peace when isn't this just the right, everything seems to be reflecting what's happening right now. I contribute to world peace when I join in spirit with all people who dedicate themselves to expressing divine love, united in the belief that God is within everyone. I affirm the divinity of humankind and honor each person as a unique expression of God. I recognize and release any unkind thoughts or feelings towards any person or group of people. I respect all others and seek to learn more about customs and beliefs that are unfamiliar to me as I grow in a spirit of kinship. I believe a warm, friendly attitude communicates my intentions as effectively as my words. I smile easily and extend myself to others in a spirit of friendship. I remain mindful that as peace flowers between individuals, peace grows in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Danelle and Stella. That was really awesome. And I must confess that as I drove up, I was not my most spiritual self. I had a few choice words in my car, only with me. But that's okay. That's okay. We catch ourselves and we let go. And then, did you notice how we looked for all the silver linings about how great this is and what it is that we're here for? So thank you for the reminder and the little test. All right. Unity of Calgary is part of a worldwide unity movement, and we are one of almost 900 centers around the world. We have adopted the worldwide vision, and I invite you to affirm it with me together. We envision a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And how we do that here at Unity of Calgary is captured by our mission statement, which is the statement that guides the board and the spiritual leadership team in all of what we do in making that vision come true here in our community and in the world. I invite you to affirm it with me. We are a welcoming, vibrant, spiritual community that inspires hearts and transforms lives by expressing our divine essence. Okay, and some announcements about how we do that here. First of all, next weekend we have our Father's Day extravaganza picnic. So our hope is that the weather will be lovely, so set your intention for beautiful weather, not too hot, and that we'll all be able to gather outside in the back of our Willow Ridge Community Association here on the grass. And so we ask you to bring a chair, bring whatever it is that you need to be comfortable. So whatever that means for you, we can set up according to whatever is comfortable. If you want to be off to the side by yourself, we're going to have loudspeakers and live music, and so we'll be able to hear it no matter what. Also, bring your own lunch. We're going to have a few goodies, and we're also going to supply the drinks, as we always do for our annual picnic. And what's super awesome, if you haven't heard it yet, is our speaker at the Father's Day picnic is going to be our very own Anthony Burbidge. I know. Now, here's the thing. Technically speaking, we cannot do the live stream from outside. It's just too complicated. So we are going to record just Anthony's talk, and we will put that onto our YouTube site and our Facebook page later on. But if you want to be here and experience it firsthand, I invite you to come. And we've been trying to get Anthony to speak for a very long time. Yes. I know, and he is not here today because he lost his voice. I swear to God, it's my fault. I definitely did not bully him into doing it. I just want you to know. I was not coercive. I did not hold his daughter ransom. And I'm very, very, very pleased that he said yes. So, and of course his beautiful wife Lil and Ayla will be here joining us as well, and we're going to have a few tributes to Anthony. But he doesn't know that yet, and he won't watch this, so don't tell him. So I hope you will all be able to join us. Make sure you look at the newsletter this week for any last-minute notifications or announcements. I'm hoping that we don't have the circus booked in the back, for next week, or I don't know what other things the Willow Ridge Community Association does. So that is our next week Father's Day extravaganza. Okay, coffee chats in the park. We are so delighted for the leadership of Shona Jenkins, and she is now hosting the in-person coffee chats in the park. You might have went to one of them last year at the Tim Hortons parking lot. We've upgraded to the North Glenmore Park. It is Monday at 1 o'clock, weather permitting. And if you don't know where that is, just keep going straight south on Crowchild Trail. You go over Glenmore, keep going, and you will go into the first parking lot, and that's where you will find, you can follow the love. How about that? The shining, beautiful faces and follow love. First parking lot on the right. Okay, first parking lot on the right. Shona Jenkins, if you want more information or need to connect with her for whatever reason, Her cell phone is 403-803-1614. Again, it's in the newsletter, so if you've got that in your email, you can just go and take a look. And so as our weather gets more beautiful, we're going to let go of our Zoom coffee chats, because who doesn't want to be outside instead of on their computer, more on Zoom? But we're hosting one last one on June the 15th, which would be Tuesday, I guess. That would be Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. Of course, that's hosted by our prayer chaplain trainer, Alara Payton, and the Zoom link is located in your newsletter and on the website. All right, the prayer vigil that happened for the graves of the 215 children from the Kamloops Residential School, that happened last Sunday. I don't know if anybody else, I tried to get on and it was full already. I was certain they were going to record it so that those of us who weren't able to attend would be able to see it later. Unfortunately, they did not. So, and we apologize. We forgot to remind you in the announcements last Sunday to get on, but it turns out that not everyone, like they had over 100 people from across Canada instantly. So, yeah. So if you weren't there in person, I know that you were there in spirit, in your heart, to hold in love all those families, all those who are affected, and all those of us who are grieving for that loss. Listen, note to self, we'll have to tape it, we'll have to record it next time. All right, where to find us? You will find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, our website, newsletter. You can no longer come and say, I didn't know where to find the information, because we are now everywhere. And if you want the information to come to you, you can sign up for our newsletter, and of course that will come right to your inbox once a week. And on occasion we'll send out a special one, but that only happens a couple times a year. Okay. I know why you're all here. It's not to hear me talk. So let's have some beautiful music. By the way, speaking of adapting and divine order, and as I mentioned before, Anthony's not here this morning because he's not feeling well, so we will hold him in love that he will be better for next week. And of course, the amazing Vivian Martin, our assistant music director, and the Unity Band just picks up and takes it from there. So let's welcome Vivian and the Unity Band.
Thank you. Well, and thank you so much. Kudos to the band for, being in the flow for sure this morning. All right. This is a song, I can't believe that it's already been 5 years since this song came to me. I can't believe it. I know. I'm like, get out of town. I looked at the date this morning. I'm like, no way. Yeah. It's called Light Up, Shine On, Be Bright. And definitely in these days, it's a good mantra to have. There are those who see the suffering and hate and choose to live with all the pain. There are those who see the same and choose to smile and sing and dance despite the rain. It's within our hearts where we open up and we play the bigger part. Light up, shine on, be bright, have faith so we can light up, shine on and be bright. Our love's the path that lights the darkest night. In the wonderment of all there is and all there was and all that's yet to be. In the moments of the burden, we can find eternal possibility. It's within our hearts where we already are, and we play the bigger part. Light up, shine on, be bright, have faith so we can. Light up, shine on, and be bright. Our love's the path that lights the darkest. When I look into your eyes, what do I see? Heart so pure and sweet and true, reflecting love as me and you. Light up, shine on, be bright, have faith so we can. Light up, shine on, and be bright. Come on and light up, shine on, be bright, have faith so we can. Light up, shine on, and be bright. 'Cause our love's the path that lights the darkest. Light up, shine on, be bright. 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 Sing it with your throat. Light up, shine on, be bright. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Yes. Light up, shine on, and be bright. Those are your marching orders for today and the rest of the week. Our guest speaker this morning is someone who has been with our community a couple of times before in the past, and we are delighted to have her back. Jody Crawford Swift is a longtime teacher, 22 years. She's a speaker, a life coach, importantly, a mom. And she also runs Studio Me. So she's had this very interesting career of and passion, I guess, around sharing imagination, creativity. And today she is going to talk to us about what imagination can do for us and the power of our imagination. Please help me welcome Jody Crawford Swift.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Very good. Check, check. Break 1-9. Let's see. On. We've got a blue. Oh. Checking. You there? It's reading. Let me just imagine it's on. Let's see. Hello? Oh, there we go. Oh, that's pretty awesome. I have to tell you guys, I am so delighted to be back in Unity Space. I have been in Unity Space online. Hi, everybody at home, because I've been one of you for the last several months, where I've been joining you from my bed. And I've been listening and taking in and being with from a different space. However, there is something so magical about being in this energy today. Can you guys feel it? Like it's just like vibrational. And it's funny that it started in a space of opportunity. I loved how you used that word, right? Where it was like, oh, I get an opportunity to look at how we're going to shift and move and be creative. And that's, of course, what imagination is all about. And when Susan reached out to me and asked if I could speak today, I literally was in the middle of doing the end part of one of my lectures that I'm putting out for Udemy University on vision boarding. And I was literally at the part where I was talking about vision casting. And she's like, do you think you could do a talk on imagination? I was like, that's funny. That was really funny. I was like, that's a MOG moment. One of my students introduced me to the concept of a MOG moment, which means moment of grace, which apparently came from architect of being work. And she had studied it with her mom, and she said, you know, Miss Swift, I have all of these MOG moments. She's like, do you have MOG moments? And I was like, oh girl, all the time, all the time. However, being aware of them is what's really, really special. Of being like, that was good. That was great alignment. And sometimes it comes through me with goosebumps. Do you guys ever get that? When you know you're on track because you're like, oh yeah, I can feel you through me right now, right? So when I got the topic of imagination, the downloaded immediately was the power of imagination. And I thought, being the educator that I am and doing good due diligence, I thought, let's Google that. Let's Google the power of imagination and see if anybody's written anything on it. And sure enough, there's actually a book by Kerry Kirkwood called The Power of Imagination. And I was like, ooh, let's see what her genius brings forward. So I pulled a quote from her that I just thought was a beautiful way of opening. And she boldly states in her piece that believers in the universal truth use their imaginations to see beyond current circumstances into the realm where God paints pictures in their minds. Healings are commonplace, goals are accomplished, dreams come true, and victories are celebrated. And I thought, yes, yes, Kerry Kirkwood. Well said. Then she continues to say, but we all with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror of the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as from the Lord the Spirit, which is a Corinthians piece, 3:14 to 18. And if you would have asked me, 10 years ago if I would ever be quoting a Bible verse, I would have told you you would have lost your mind, right? Because there is just not much that I felt like I connected to, but there is so much wisdom in there. And there's so much wisdom in that statement, which was really all about that we all have the power to transform what we imagine into reality. That's really what it comes down to. We are the vessel of that transformation. And everything that's literally in front of us in our space, we've created. And I heard this great quote the other day, and follow Matthew Patty. Does anybody follow Matthew Patty's work? Know anything about him? I highly recommend. He refers to us as skin bags of emotion living in the quantum field. And I was like, that is quite an image. I imagined like us all kind of forming into this skin bag of emotion, and we're actually living within this quantum space. And when we can get out of our own way, we can tap into all that there is around us, which is truly the essence of imagination. So Louise Hay, who should actually be my best friend in this lifetime, and I'm devastated to this day that I never got to meet her in person. Anybody else a Louise Hay fan in here? Okay, so meeting her was on my bucket list, and I was like, she's a mentor and a visionary, and she just is a lovely human being. And when she passed, I was like, fine, next lifetime, you and me, right? But she wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And in You Can Heal Your Life, she speaks to these patterns that she noticed in people. And people would come and talk to her and speak to her about their ailments, what's going on for them. And she noticed that what people thought about directly reflected on their physiology. That what they were saying, and multiple people, not just one or two, that they were saying things that were reflecting in their bodies. So an example of that is people who continually had foot injuries, were afraid of stepping forward in their life, that there's some forward movement that's missing in their life. I'm winking for those of you who are at home because Stefan's here with his foot up on a chair, just so you know. Oh, right? I know. You're like, okay, I'm getting the message. So, and sometimes it works reciprocally. Sometimes we think things and then create them. So I had a moment this past weekend. I actually fell off of 10 feet off of a bridge, and I landed with a bike on top of me. And I ended up with an injured fingernail. And it's really quite comical because, guys, this is the finger that got hurt, right? Out of all of that accident, this is the finger that got hurt. And I was like, I'm curious what Louise would say about that. Like, what is that all about? But it was really special. That's right. Turn up the volume. I thought it was really special this morning. I was talking to Susan and the rest of the crew that do prayer before, and we had a moment where she spoke to us being the bridge for the message today. And I thought, isn't it interesting that last week I fell off a bridge, and today I get to be the bridge, right? And that's the power of imagination, right? I closed my eyes and I was like, I am the bridge. Like, there's no need to be in fear of it. There's no need to be in frustration around it. It is actually a part of who I am. I can use that in my imagination. So Joe Dispenza follows up Louise Hay's work with his own journey around self-healing. So he is another one of my mentors and heroes who is a cyclist, and he was in a major bike accident and he broke his back. Does anybody follow Joe Dispenza's work at all? Okay, so he broke his spine and he was laying in the hospital, and the doctors came to him and said, listen, you're gonna have to have this life-saving surgery if you plan on ever living a normal life. But this surgery that you're going to have is going to actually leave you paralyzed from the waist down because we're going to have to sever your spinal cord. And Joe was like, nope on a rope. That is not happening. That's my new favorite saying, by the way, for any of you who've watched. There's a couple of movies out right now that I'm just really enjoying, but there's one called, this is a total segue, but there's one about parenting where it's called Yes Day, and the parents have to say yes all the time. You'll appreciate this. Yes Day. And so in it, at the beginning, the opening segment of it was all the different ways parents say no. And one of them was nope on a rope. And I was like, adopted this saying ever since. I was like, oh, nope on a rope. That is not happening. So Joe was like, nope on a rope about this situation. And he didn't really know what he was doing, going to do, but he knew that that wasn't the answer. He was called to make a different decision. And he was laying in the hospital bed anyway, and he closed his eyes, and he connected with the quantum, and he pulled in his own healing. And he started to imagine his spine stacking up perfectly. He imagined his bone healing miraculously. And within 6 months' time, he walked out of that hospital and then spent the rest of his entire life trying to figure out what the heck he had done, and how he can scientifically prove that everybody can heal themselves and that they have the power to do that. And so he has now since experienced miracle after miracle after miracle of healing. And so Stefan, when I came in and saw him, I thought, yes, we're going to get into imagination and healing today. So that's really exciting. So this idea of being able to close your eyes and imagine yourself in a healed form is a way of biohacking. Biohacking, anybody familiar with the term? Yeah, okay. So it's another term for like do-it-yourself biology, okay? Different things that people do. It's an amorous term, so it's like it encompasses a whole bunch of things. But some people consume bone broth to help heal the collagen in their bodies, right? Or some people will go and do cold water plunges. Anybody? Cold water plunge? Yeah? Okay, that promotes stem cell growth. Stem cells, for those of you who don't know what those are cells that can turn themselves into any cell in your body. So you could imagine how important that would be to be able to stimulate stem cell growth. So those are just different forms of biohacking. However, using your imagination to biohack is what I like to refer to as intentional vision casting. And this is where we see the end result that we want. We see the process of getting there. And it is the most accessible and affordable form of healing yourself, right? Everybody has it. You have all accessibility to it, right? Because we were born with this ability. I remember distinctly being rushed to the emergency room at the hospital when I had my first child. And I rarely ever share the story, and I'm not going to share all the details because it was dramatic and traumatic for a lot of people involved. But I want you to imagine, because now I find it really funny. Do you ever find those moments in your life that were traumatic? That now you're just like, that's actually just really funny now? Yeah. So I'm buck naked on a gurney on all fours, being ran down the hospital ward. And I look up, and there is my doula, my baby's father, and my mom all standing there gobsmacked, white as a ghost. And I'm yelling, "I'll bring you back a baby!" at the top of my lungs. And there's a nurse on the gurney with me, and she's trying to get my heart rate slowed because we lost the baby's heart rate, and it was like go, go, go time. They bumped a kid with an appendectomy to get me in there and get this baby out of me. And so you could imagine the energy. And it was funny because we were talking when I got here about you can feel the energy moving in here, right? And it was just like in this story. And so I could feel the energy. And then this doctor whispers in my ear, "You need to hold still, because I'm about to plunge a 3-inch needle in your spine, and if you move, I could paralyze you." Come on! Are you kidding? I'm in contractions here. And all I'm thinking is oh, please don't contract. How am I gonna? And you know what I did? I used my imagination. I closed my eyes, and I saw myself sitting on the top of this hill. To this day, it makes me emotional. The top of this hill in Tibet. And I looked down, and I was holding my son. And I didn't know he was a boy until that moment. And I was looking at him, and I was like, oh, it's so going to be okay. It's just going to be, I could see it so clearly. And the boom, bounce back. We're back in the emergency room. They're laying me down and twisting me around and cutting me open and getting this kid out. And right before they announce, "It's a boy," they go, and I go, "Boy." And they kind of look at me, and I was like, I saw it first. I imagined it first. And this isn't the first. It's happened a lot throughout my life. I remember in grade 9, I was sitting in a classroom, and I just burst into tears because I had this feeling, this really strong feeling. And my girlfriend looks over at me, and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "No." I go, "My grandma just died." And she goes, "What?" This is before cell phones, people. It's before text messaging. This is I was like, "My grandmother just died." And she goes, "How do you know?" And I said, "I don't know how to explain that I know, but I know." So I go home. My mom answers the door. She's like, "Jody, I've got some really sad news." And I said, "I know." I said, "Grandma died." And she's like, "Okay." And I know that she's had these moments with me throughout my life. But the funny thing is that I'm not unique, right? I'm actually not unique. Everybody can feel when they're in a space of alignment about what the next steps are, where we're traveling to, right? When we use our imagination. I saw my grandma, right? She came to me, and I just knew that she was no longer here, okay? So in that moment, I realized that imagination could also be prophetic, that I could think it and I could create it. Right? That there's something about imagining it and seeing it. And the reason why I say this is not unique to me, you guys, is because the very chair you're sitting on was in someone's imagination before it was under your butt. Right? And in fact, it's probably the 90th generation or 90th version of itself. And I imagine myself sometimes sitting back in the caveman days with the cavemen sitting there on that rock, right? And they're like, "Okay, this is not comfy." Right? This isn't comfy. There's got to be a better way. And they asked a really good question, which was, how can I make this more comfortable? And so maybe they carved a tree. And then somebody was sitting on the tree stump, and somebody went, "My back's a little sore. How could I leave a backrest on this?" And somebody carved a tree with a backrest. And then somebody went, that's an amazing, comfortable tree stump. I want to take it with me. How can I take it with me? How can I make this portable? Right? And so what I realized is that our brains are wired to create and look for the answers. So sometimes using your imagination and getting it to ignite is just about asking a great question, about digging into a really great question, you know, and then the answer starts to come. And now you're sitting in some sort of fabric covered chair with, you know, a metal frame. And I'm sure at some point someone was like, you know what we should do with metal? We should make chairs. And somebody else was like, you're nuts. That's crazy. No, I see it. I can see that we can make chairs out of metal. And so as the world turns and you get into innovation and creation, your imagination begins to ignite. And you can use your imagination for a million different things. I'm going to tangent, so I'm just going to check back in here because I can go on about this topic forever. Let's roll into looking at so Mary Morrissey. Any big fans of Mary Morrissey? Okay. So once you've asked that really good question, she always says to let go and let God, right? So that's the next step, is like making sure that you've asked the good question and then just get out of the way of it. So clients that I work with, some of the clients I work with in vision board classes tell me that they close their eyes, they can't see anything. There's actually a biological issue, I'll call it. I hate using defect or issue because it's supposed to be exactly the way it is. However, some people literally can't do that, but everybody can use their imagination in a playful way. So if you were to take the very pen, if you were holding a pen in your hand and we were to create it into a flute, what would you do with your hands? Take that same pen and turn it into a straw. What would you do? Yeah. Take that same pen and turn it into a mustache. A unibrow. Right? A feather. Okay? So you guys all did that. Immediately did that because you didn't have to be taught to use your imagination. It is no different than being able to breathe. Right? It's an automatic part of your nervous system in order to use your imagination. And so you don't have to close your eyes and see things. You can actually get out and be in action around imagination. In Psychology Today, this is one of the favorite reports that I read. They took a group of weightlifters and they had them push their 1 rep max, which means that they could not push any more weight and they could only push to that 1 rep. Then they had them sit off to the side and close their eyes and imagine adding 5 more pounds to the sides. And then imagine themselves laying on that bench and imagine themselves pushing that weight and putting it down. And 100% of the candidates that went back to that bench after doing that imagination exercise pushed more weight. 100% of the time. And this is recorded in Psychology Today. Okay. I know for myself, when I played basketball in high school, my coach made us do this. We had to sit, I remember very distinctly sitting in another room next to the gymnasium. And he said, play the game in your mind first and then play it on the court. Close your eyes and imagine that shot going in. Imagine the feeling of the crowd cheering around you. And without a doubt, when I took the time to do that, I absolutely had the best games that I ever played. When I was in those spaces of that mind's eye, if I did not tap into the emotion of the scene, it just became a fleeting thought, right? So it's the emotional piece that's really important when you're looking at vision casting, when you're looking at creating what you want. Because imagination is directly related to our emotional field. Are you guys open to doing a little activity to prove this? You guys at home can do this too. Okay, you're going to close your eyes, but before you do, you're going to place your hands together like this, and I want you to imagine there's a plate on your hands, okay? If you feel safe, you can close your eyes. I'm not coming near you. Nobody's coming near you. You're going to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that there is a warm, hot, steamy pile of dog poop sitting on that plate. Okay? So now, come back to me. I want you to pay attention to how many of you had a biopsychological or biophysical response to that. How many of you recoiled? You actually went like this, right? Pay attention to the recoil. How many of you, your nostrils flared? You were like, oh, my nostrils just flared. There's no poop in front of us, but we know that that would not be a pleasant experience, right? So we created the image, the scent, the idea in our head and had a response to it. Now, I'm not leaving you with dog poop, so let's do that again, okay? So let's get back in here. You're going to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine an amazing lunch. Like whatever your favorite of favorites are, for those analytical types, don't get too tight on, oh, it can't be this or that or whatever. Just like choose something. Something that would be like super yummy, something that would fill and satiate you right now. Okay, take a deep breath in. Smell it. Feel the satisfaction in your body of knowing that you're going to get to eat it. Pay attention to whether or not you salivated. And come back to me. How many of you had a biopsychological response that time? How many of you salivated? Okay? So we get choice as to what we want to put in our imagination and what response we want out of it. Right? We can choose the dog poop if we want to in life, or we can choose the incredible meal, right? But we got to create the story that created the result in our body. So I'm going to have you look at different ways that you can develop your imagination. How many of you, now this is going to be an age thing, so I don't know, I think we're going to be safe in this room. How many of you have been driving in the car, no technology, and you just got bored? Remember those days where you're sitting in the passenger seat or the back seat and you're just like, wow, I'm bored, right? And nowadays you're probably like, I want to get bored. I'd give anything to be bored. I just got to play in my imagination. When I was in cars traveling, I would like hold my breath and pretend to jump all the power poles, right? And create little games in my brain of all the different things that I could do. So one of the things you can do to improve your imagination is to actually get bored. Allow yourself to be without stimulus and just be. Go lay in the grass and stare at the clouds. See how your imagination and your creativity start to ignite when you look at those clouds move. Anybody still cloud watchers? I'm totally a cloud watcher. Yes. Go hang out with kids and play. And if it feels really clunky initially, because sometimes it will, because sometimes we forget how to play, let them lead. They have no problem leading the way. They'll hand you the teacup, they'll hand you the hammer, they'll hand you the axe or the gun or whatever they're playing. And you just have to go with and flow with. You'll probably lose 25 pounds while you're at it, by the way. These guys are like energetic, okay? Which means you're gonna have to eat to put it back on, okay? Do something in the arts. You wanna develop your imagination? Vivian like beautifully displayed it this morning. Your version of Anthony's song was just beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. And so it's like taking something that already exists and creating and putting your own spin on it. You know, dance, play music, do art, paint, draw, you know, craft. Do something creative, because in the creativity, your imagination just fires. It just ignites. And you play and build and play and build. Carpentry, right? Gardening. There's a million different ways to be in creation. We always play, my family plays a manifestation game when we all go on road trips. I don't know if you guys have ever played this, but it's called What If, okay? What if we pass this, what would you want to see? So if we're going to BC, one of the games we played, I was like, I want to see a fish. And my partner was like, I want to see a bear. And my oldest son goes, I want to see a Burger King burger. Clearly he was hungry. And my youngest, who still is in a really imaginative space, says, I want to see a pink Volkswagen. And I was like, man, we're boring. He's like, well, seriously, Mom, we're going to BC. You're not going to see a bear or a fish? Like, what are you talking about right now? Of course we're going to run. The probability is really high. When you're playing in the manifestation game, you don't want the probability to be really high, right? And so you want to make it fantastical. Guess what? We saw the bear, the fish, the burger that day, within that day. But that pink car showed up 3 weeks later when I was in a moment of breakdown and I needed to know that God was by my side. And the pink car passes. Mog moment. Thank you. So I always like to leave my talks with one thing that you can walk away with. And thank you so much for being here with me today, by the way. It is to come to a space of how to vision cast. So vision casting is imagining being in basically the shape that you want, the care that you want, having all the things you want, health, wealth, vitality, all of those things, and seeing yourself at the end result of it. So find yourself a space. My suggestion is do it while moving. Be in the car and see the best car version. Be in the kitchen and see the kitchen fallout. You know, imagine while you're in movement so your body can memorize what you're doing and be in play with you. And then basically invite other people in. You know, hey, can you imagine with me that we're going to do this, or imagine with me that we're going to do that? And then get into that fun, high energy vibration space and watch it just come to manifestation. Thank you so much for having me today. Take care. It was so fun. Oh, yes. One more thing. I get the pleasure of leading you in meditation today. So this is where you can maybe do a visualization if you wanted to in your meditation. Maybe ask that curious question that could bring you the bigger answer. Viv? Get grounded. You can open yourself up. Take a deep breath in.
I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love.
Be where you are. Trust is exactly where you're supposed to be. And imagine yourself another reality. if you so choose. See it as is. See it as you want it to be. Feel the emotion of the new reality. Engage your senses. Smell, sight, sound.
I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love. Oh. This next song, I love jazz. I love jazz. Jazz is the thing that I do, that I be. I guess I be it more than do it. And a lot of improvisation and jazz and imagination. And I was, a few years back, I was like, well, you know, I love the new thought message and the new that kind of thing. And it's like, how do I combine those? The question. How can I do both of those? It doesn't have to be either or. It can be both and. And so this song was a moment of grace, a Mog moment. And it's called a Song of Love. You can get up and dance if you want. Hear a song inside, it sings of love, a little melody I'm holding the feeling of in a song of love. And in the darkest night it sings to me, so with a joyful heart I happily sing along in a song of love. Little salsa, a song of love for you. to be with love, a song of love. The world will sing in harmony and know a brighter day, a way that truly sets us free. So if you're wondering just how it goes, a little quiet time will bring out the song in you, pure and sweet and true. A song of love for you and me to be with love. A song of love, the world will sing in harmony and know a brighter day, a way that truly sets us free. If you are wondering just how it goes, a little quiet time will bring out the song in you, pure and sweet and true. A song of love for you and me to be with love. A song of love. The world will sing in harmony and know a brighter day, a way that truly sets us free. Thank you.
Wow, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that amazing? Thank you, Vivian. I love that combination of the jazz and the new thought. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And Jody, oh my God, thank you so much for, I don't know, who else feels like you got totally ignited and motivated to do that thing that's been kind of hanging back here, and now you're like, yes, I can do this. I can do it. I can see it now. Thank you so much for that. And for those of you who are interested in the vision boarding, Jody has some workshops coming up throughout the summer. So maybe that'll be the motivation to create and manifest what it is that you want to create in the world. What's the best way for people to find out about those workshops? Okay. June 24th? Okay, so June 24th is the next one starting, and so we will put that onto our social media. So we'll put it onto our Instagram, our Facebook, and we'll put, you know what, we'll put a link into the newsletter. So, okay, visual interactive classes, but it is online, yeah, virtual, yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, so, wow, hey? Now we all remember why it is that we come together each week, right? Together, using our time, our talent, and our treasure, we create this beautiful space where we can come and be together, inspire one another, support one another. That's what I love about this community is the love and the support and the inspiration is just never ending. So you can place your donation into the basket that is here in the back of the room. You can also do an e-transfer. You can go to our website and donate there. And if you want to do it the good old-fashioned way and put a check in the mail, you can do that too. All that information is on our website. The e-transfer is to donate at unityofcalgary.org. Whoops. And so as we ponder and imagine and create this beautiful abundance for our community, I invite you to stand and we will sing together an offering song of Give with an Open Heart.
grateful for my life. And I trust that a higher power will always be there to provide. That's why I give with an open heart. And that's why I give with an open heart. Well, I place my faith in the Spirit, and I welcome each and every day. And I let go of all my troubles and worries. A new abundance always comes my way. That's why I give with an open heart. And that's why I give with an open heart. Oh, I'm gonna give with an open heart. Yeah, I'm gonna give with an open heart.
They changed it, yes. What a morning. Oh, I came in with a cane, and I'm wondering why I brought it. Thank you. Please join with me. And notice we've got a little bit of a change up here. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you all.
Thank you, Cecil. All right, and we also have the blessing for the children, the beautiful children who are with us here this morning, the children in the world, the children in our lives, and our very own dear inner children. I invite you to affirm with me. We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are. All right, so you can sit down for a moment. As we take a quiet moment to bring to our awareness anything that we want to surrender, to turn over, to let go of. Turning it over to Spirit, we know, opens the way for abundant blessings to unfold. And as Jody reminded us, not necessarily on our own timeline, right? Divine order, divine order, divine order. So there's a number of ways that you can surrender that prayer. You can just do it in your mind. We know the power of our mind to put that prayer into the prayer box. If you're here in person, you can write it out on the piece of paper and put it into the prayer box. If you are online, you can send an email to prayer@unityofcalgary.org. And those prayers, all of them, are held in love by our prayer team for 30 days. And they're also sent down to Silent Unity, where they are held in love for 30 days. If you are in need of urgent prayer support for the unexpected things that might show up in your life, there is, of course, the Silent Unity prayer line, 1-800-NOW-PRAY, and that information is also on our website. We also hold in love the other Unity communities across the country, across our beautiful nation, that are holding this same vision for spiritual awakening, for transformation of humanity, of our society. And this month in particular, we're holding Unity Vancouver and Unity of London. We see them having the love and the support they need to continue cultivating the consciousness and bringing the message of unity across our country. I invite you to take a deep breath, to center yourself, and to join me in affirming the prayer of protection. The light that is God surrounds me. I am the light. The love that is God enfolds me. I am the love. The power that is God protects me. I am the power. The presence that is God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Amen. All right, so now let's stand up one more time and we together return to love.
Yes, and we're just going to take a minute to say hello to all of our friends at home. We know watching Flo and Lorraine and Adele and Chris and Claude, special get well, and we miss you. And come and join us next Sunday outside in the fresh air. Yes. Look at that. Okay, so a return to love. Whenever I'm burdened by the pressures of this world, I return to love. Whenever I'm lost and my soul cannot be heard, I return to love. I return to love. Oh, I return to love. And every worry disappears when I return to love. Oh, everything becomes so clear. All because I return myself to love. Whenever I am prone to judge the path that I'm on, I return to love. Whenever I am torn between what's coming and what's gone, I return to love. I return to love. Oh, I return to love. And every worry disappears when I return to love. And everything becomes so clear. All because I return myself to love. Oh, love, love, love is the only pure word speaking of. Oh, yes, love, love, love takes us deep within, helps us rise above. Oh, yes, love, love, love. We return ourselves to love. Oh, we return to love. And every worry disappears when we return to love. Oh, everything becomes so clear because we return ourselves to love. Because we return ourselves to love. Because we return ourselves to love.
What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful morning. And I also want to put out the call that if anybody has one of those, those shade tents that's got 10 by 10 roughly, if you have one of those and can bring it for the picnic next week, we would be most grateful. We're going to try and create as much shade as we can, but bring your own umbrella just in case if it's super sunny and you need a little shade, but we're going to try and do that. So if anybody has one or knows somebody who has one, if you can contact Bob. Yes, Bob Elwood. Okay. Lucky you, Bob, I just picked you.
Well,
Bob.
just imagine Bob doing it.
Oh, I totally imagine Bob doing it. Okay, got it. What's that? Yes, and Bob's number, of course, is on the newsletter and on the website, I think, as a member of our spiritual leadership team. So let's complete our morning this morning by going out into the room, and we will sing our final song, Sending Peace Out into the World. Let there be peace on earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Just walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. There be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Have a beautiful, imagine-filled week.
A song of love? Sure.
Take it away, band.
All right. Here we go. Hear a song inside, sings of love, a little melody upholding the feeling of. In our song of love, in the darkest times it sings to me, so with a joyful heart I happily sing along. In our song of love, a song of love for you and me to be with love, a song of love, the world singing harmony. I know how bright today, our way that truly sets us free. If you are wondering just how it goes, a little quiet time, reflecting the song in you, your sweet and true. A song of love for you and me to be with love. A song of love, the world will sing in harmony. And know our pride today, a way that truly sets us free. If you are wondering just how it goes, a little quiet time will bring out the song in you, pure and sweet and true. A song